Loneliness after a breakup is brutal. It's heartbreaking, and maybe you've been going through this for quite some time and you're tired of being lonely and single. The other day, I was speaking to a friend who is going through a breakup, and he hasn't really talked about it. And when he finally reached out to me as a friend, not as a coach, I asked him, why haven't you spoken to me about this? Because I believe this is a common mistake everybody makes. They don't speak. And he said, I didn't want to burden you with this. And I said, you are denying me the opportunity of being your friend. So the next time you are going through this and you want to cry, don't fucking do it alone. You make sure you call me or you give somebody else a call and we'll go from there. It's okay. So today, guys, I'm going to help you with the loneliness, and I don't want you to suffer in silence, because suffering in silence severely aggravates loneliness. So you must talk about it, and I'm going to give you some guidance on that today and some tips. And by the end of this, hopefully you can reach out to someone and just say, hey, I'm going through a bad time right now. I need to cry, and I don't want to do it by myself. Before we get into that, welcome back to the Love Fix. It's Nick, doing my best to get you through your breakups as easily and as healthily as possible. I have some exciting news. I am now doing a podcast on Spotify, Apple eventually, Amazon, and various other platforms. I will leave the links below, specifically for Spotify. So it would really help me out if you come along and subscribe and listen. So the podcast is going to be deeper conversations. I will be having people on, experts in the field, other creators in this area, and I will be having some of my clients on going through their problems. They've given me their permission to do so. It's not something I do too regularly, but I'd love to have you there. So come and join the Spotify podcast. The podcast is called Breakup Recovery with the Love Fix. So just type that into Spotify or whatever other platform that I might be on, and it will come up. Okay, without further ado, let's get into it. Going through a breakup, I think, is probably the loneliest place to be in the world. The person that you loved the most and you thought loved you the most has now abandoned you and gone on their own journey to somewhere else. And that's left you in a shit state. It's left you on ground zero, on the floor, picking up the pieces. And it's a really, really lonely place to be. And the breakup and the heartbreak is just, it's brutal. It is so brutal. But the biggest mistake people make is that they don't talk about it. And men, probably more than women, I've certainly come across women that don't talk about their feelings. So, you know, they might be slightly more avoidant and so on. But men especially have this problem. But this isn't just isolated to men. It goes across the spectrum. So today, I'm going to encourage you to talk about this. Really talk about it. And my friends, if you don't have anyone to talk to, come and join my Facebook group. Go to Facebook, type in the Love Fix Breakup Recovery and join the group. There's 20,000 people in there now. The community is really great. It's healthy. And I've got a great team helping me there. And a lot of people don't want to talk to their friends or their family because they don't understand. So I'm here to tell you today that we do understand, and we validate, and we hear you. And we will ask the question, do you just want us to listen, or would you like our advice? And if you would like our advice, then it's going to be compassionate, but without the bullshit. And if that doesn't work, if you need something extra, then you can work with me one-to-one and book a coaching session with me. And we'll get into it. You can just vent off, let it all out, let me have it. And we'll go from there. But I'm not saying that you have to do that. I'm just saying if you don't have any resources to do that. For me, there is a big difference between being alone and lonely. To quote Jean-Paul Sartre, if you feel lonely in your own company, then you're in bad company. And what that means for me is we're not doing what we need to as an individual, as a single person, to create a good single life. Because what typically happens in a lot of relationships, we outsource everything to the partner. They become the social outlet, they become the romantic interest, they become the therapist, they become the confidant, all these stuff. And Esther Perel talks about this in great detail, and I highly encourage you to search Esther Perel and just absorb anything that that woman says, because she's the queen of relationships and breakup psychology and all that kind of thing. And one of her sayings is, we're making that one person into a village. So what I mean by village is that you need a range of people around you to fulfill these different aspects of your life. So you need friends that you can do hobbies with. You need personal projects. You need people that are mentors and so on. But when we get into relationships, we take all those little aspects and we outsource that to one person, and it becomes impossible. And then they eventually leave. And that leaves you feeling very lonely. Okay, a breakup is going to make you feel lonely anyway, even if you've got your village around you. It's going to make you do that anyway. But we can lessen the impact of that. So I'm going to encourage you to do a few things today. First of all, talk. I want you to talk. Talk to a safe person. That's what I used to do. I would have my safe person, and I would ask them and say, hey, look, when I'm having a bad day, I'm going to send you a text message, and it's a text message that I want to send to my ex. I'm not going to send it to you, but I'm not going to send it to my ex, but I'm going to send it to you. And when I send it to you, I only want you to say one thing. Do you just need me to listen, or do you need my advice? That's it. 9 times out of 10, we just want to feel heard. And that takes a lot of the loneliness away. Now, outside of work and any kind of gym activity or whatever you normally do day to day, you must start stepping outside the comfort zone. You must start going to places where there's people. So volunteering your time, like at a dog shelter or a homeless shelter or a soup kitchen, library, community centre, new hobbies. Now, I was speaking to my friend Thomas today, and he's also one of the moderators in my Facebook group. And he's about 18 months into his breakup process, former client of mine. And I've been encouraging him to go and do things. And he's taken it upon himself to go and learn the guitar. Now, he started to try and learn the guitar online from YouTube, and it just didn't work. His heart just wasn't in it. And he said, the only way I feel this will work is if people get up, go out and pay for the service. Because paying for the service means you're invested. It means you've put in some accountability. And okay, maybe financially you can't do that right now, and that's okay. But a part of getting up and leaving your house is going to be a big step. And actively choosing to go to somewhere. Maybe it's a free class, maybe it's a meetup group, whatever it might be. But you must step out the comfort zone. I've said before, for me, it was going to music school. It was learning the drums. It was being around people that had a very different lifestyle to me and a very different experience. And it was scary, but it was wonderful. And I still play the drums today. It's been a really great thing for me. It's been a great artistic outlet. And when I went to those classes, I didn't feel so lonely anymore, because I started to build the village again, rather than outsourcing it to one person. I started to reconnect with friends. So phone up old friends that maybe you've lost contact with. Phone up old family members that you've lost contact with. And if that's not possible, go to meetup groups. Go to meetup.com and sign up to groups. Okay? Because a big part of your loneliness is to do with aspects of yourself and your life that you've neglected whilst you've been in a relationship. So now you are left with the task of rebuilding that. And yeah, it's gonna sting. Guys, I felt lonely for like 18 months when I went through my breakup between 2020 and mid 2022. I felt like the loneliest person in the world. Even though I was out there dating and I was making new friends, traveling, doing some wonderful things, building this YouTube channel, coaching people, and I still felt lonely because it took a long time to rebuild a house that I neglected for 4 years. The infrastructure just wasn't there. I neglected it. I didn't perform maintenance on myself, and that's where a big part of the loneliness comes from. And not only that, yes, you feel shit, and it's okay. Your limbic brain, your feeling brain wants to go back. It is trying to get you to go back. It's trying to get you to go where you last felt safe. Your limbic brain still thinks the relationship exists. And that's what we must deal with. And when that does happen, it's not a case of running away from the pain. More to the point, you have to sit in the pain and learn the lesson it's trying to teach you, because pain is not there to hurt you. It's there to guide you. It's actually trying to protect you. It's trying to say, hey, look, something's not right at the moment. And yes, you feel lonely. I don't want you to feel lonely, so come on. Let's get up and do some things. And I think if you can put those little things together over time, you start to feel less lonely. Yes, we all want a partner. That's a big part of it. But funny enough, I was talking to my girlfriend yesterday, and we've been together coming up 6 months now. And we was discussing how single life can be addictive, because she was single for like 3 years before she started dating me, and I was single largely. I had a few dates here or there, and a few women that, you know, was with them 2 or 3 months, but I don't consider that a considerable relationship. So I've been largely single over the last 3 years, and it's addictive. It does become addictive. Once you put that foundation in place, you're actually more worried about someone coming along and disrupting your new independence. So I was alone, but I stopped feeling lonely because I invested that time in myself of self-love and confidence and being okay in my own skin. And I think that also contributes to loneliness, is that you're not okay in your own skin. You're not comfortable in your own skin. You're too worried about what everybody else is thinking about you. Guys, don't give a fuck. Or right to the point, choose where you give a fuck. You must choose to care more about yourself than somebody's opinion of you. And I promise you, if you do that, because you can't please everybody, if you stop trying to please everybody and just be you, the right people will naturally be attracted to you, because you have invested in who you are and you've improved who you are. So that's loneliness. It's not the case that you don't have anybody. That is part of it, but you can be alone and not feel lonely. So start building your village. And if you build your village, the last piece of that is the partner piece. It's the last 10-20%. It's the cherry on the top of the cake, or rather the frosting. You know, a cake is only about 20% frosting. Underneath it, you've got the actual cake, the layers, and whatever else is in it. Yeah, the foundations are there. The frosting is absolutely the best part of the cake. It's the most tastiest part of the cake, but it's not the whole cake. It's only the top part. So, my friends, to stop being lonely, and I get it, I get it, I really do. It's just the worst feeling in the world. You must invest in yourself. You must validate yourself 80%, and you get the 20% validation from your partner or new boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. But most of you have done that the other way around in your relationships. You've got 80 or even 90 or 100% validation from your partner, and when they left, you had nothing. Your identity was so tied up in them, you had no identity when they left. And therefore, you are literally going through an identity crisis. That's all I've got for today. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope this has helped, and I hope you stop feeling lonely. And if you want to work with me, or you want to join the Facebook group or the podcast on Spotify, I'm going to post the links down in the description. I think I figured out YouTube because the links have not been clickable recently. But If you need more information, if that doesn't work, email me at thelovefix20@gmail.com and I'll be more than happy to help you. You're going to be okay. This is only temporary and you will get to the other side of this breakup. And on that note, I will see you on the other side.